Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Timothy here with Jank Diver Game, and we are still playing ROTO Draft with my Mardu Aristocrats deck. We are against MopBeeble, one of our newer members, but good player from what I understand. Let's look at the deck list here. So I would say, and I'm not saying this to be offensive, but I would say that MopBeeble's is perhaps the most erratic deck from the pool. I believe he started off with like Brazen Borrower and Shark Typhoon, and you can see the end result here. It's like almost an Is It tempo deck. It's got Is It top end, and then in the middle things just get kind of wild, right? There's Fine Finality, and there's Nicol Bolas and Pull Kranos. He has good mana fixing though. He has Chromatic Lantern, Solemn, Gilded Lotus, all his mana fixers. There's a Yarick in here somehow, so it's kind of like a non-white deck with a lot of blue and red cards that just kind of paved the way. There's a sweeper here in Storm's Wrath, and there are two double blue counter spells plus an Essence Scatter that I have to worry about. Once he gets to the late game, he's going to win and he can ramp into it, but maybe I can establish some stuff early and maybe he gets a little bit screwed on mana, I guess. There's also like the Field of the Dead deck going on here, so his mana should be pretty good. He's got tons of mana fixin' and things of that, and we'll look at the sideboard when that's relevant. But we're against kind of a wild game plan that's trying to tempo us early to keep us off our strategy and then win with the big late game stuff. So we'll see how this ends up going. I am on the play. Da, 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 da. All right. We have our Priest into Bastion draw on the play, which is pretty good. I think I'm going to go fetch up a Forest with this Fabled Passage. I can actually wait on the Fabled Passage. I don't have to crack that right away. It does thin my deck a tiny little bit, but being able to go like Swamp into Mountain and have Ingress Rampage potentially might be relevant. Ingress Rampage actually pretty good in this matchup, I think, because if he plays Chromatic Lantern or something like Pull a Kranos on turn 3 or 4, I don't know how he's turn 3 and Pull a Kranos, then I have an out to get rid of it because I can't really deal with artifacts. But having the Priest into Bastion, probably Priest into Yeheni is pretty nice. I do have to watch out for Storm's Wrath, but the good thing about playing against Storm's Wrath is that Yeheni actually protects itself pretty nicely from Storm's Wrath. Of course, the Gutter Bones on turn 2. We'll lead off with the most important colors and go Priest here. And I guess I don't think he actually has a ton of lands that come in tapped. He started off with a tap land, but he does have a lot of shocks. He's got things like Spire Bluff Canals, and the Temples don't count, Evolve and Wild. So a lot of his lands are going to come in tapped here. So him playing an untapped land here, I think, is a little bit of a signal that he's got something. All right, he's Lava Coil, and like I said, he's going to try and deal with our early game stuff. I'm going to play Yeheni here and just attack for 2. The Bastion doesn't quite deal the damage. I'm leaving Yeheni unprotected, of course, but getting this past one of the 3 mana counter spells seems pretty relevant. I don't think I've ever seen this mountain before. One of the Jumpstart mountains. This is really cool. All right, World Tree. I guess we could be getting Essence scattered here. On 2 mana, he's got Brazen Borrower. I don't think he got priority there, so I don't think he has anything we can kind of rule out, Fiddlethip and stuff like that, Thunder and Rebuke. So his hand must be some of the more expensive stuff or some of the 3 mana counters. The World Tree is also kind of interesting because it's not one of his primary colors. But if he just plays like Pull a Kranos next turn, I guess I'm in a little bit of trouble. Here I'm going to crack the Fabled Passage for... Oh, I should have played Swamp. I could Fabled Passage for Swamp here. I still think I want the Forest in case I draw Corvold, though. But being able to play Gutter Bones plus Bastion's pretty good. So I'm going to get a Swamp here. I messed up. I should have just played this from hand and then used Fabled Passage at a different turn to get the Forest. But I'm going to play out my hand here. This looks like Essence Scatter is up. Could be Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrower is relevant. Can't Essence Scatter a Bastion of Remembrance, though. Could also have like a cycle naturalize or something like that. Or neutralize, I suppose. There's a lot of things that could happen here. No Pull Kranos. Nicol Bolas. Still pretty bad for me, I would say. Thankfully I'm not discarding anything relevant. Would have been nice for that Priest to survive. Would have been nice to draw something this turn too, because I've just got kind of nothing here. I can attack with everything. Actually, I could just attack with Gutter Bones and then replay Gutter Bones, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Maybe I should attack with everything. It gets in at least 3 damage. Not drawing anything this turn really sucked. I mean, what's he do here? He blocks. If I attack with just Gutter Bones, I deal a point of damage to him, right? If I attack with everything and he blocks this, I get in a little bit more damage. And if he blocks Yahenni, I just sack Gutter Bones. I get in a free point of damage, essentially. So I think I attack with everything. Alright, that actually is good for me. So we'll make Yahenni indestructible. And we'll just put this Gutter Bones back in my hand and replay it. And pass the turn. Haven't dealt a ton of damage to him, and I need to draw well here. Because my hand is garbage. Here's where something like Village Rites would be nice. Gilded Lotus is good. Do we have Gilded Lotus into another play? I already think he has something like Neutralize. Dread Wanderer is fine. So I can play Dread Wanderer first here. Yep, still feels like Neutralize probably in hand. And I'll make the same attack. I can actually just sack Dread Wanderer now and keep the Gutter Bones damage on board. Okay. Oh, are we doing something? You can flip Bolus next turn, I suppose. We're putting him down to 10 here. And then we'll just put Dread Wanderer back into play. I should just play Swamp. 1, 2, 3, yep. And pass the turn. So Yahenni with the recursion here is pretty nice. I guess Fine Finality would destroy me. I mean, he has so many things that would just destroy me here, right? Shark Typhoon for 1. Okay. Shark Typhoon for 1 leads me to believe that his hand's not amazing. Or that he's digging into very specific answers. If he plays a land this turn, he's got basically free reign on his mana because of the World Tree. Ooh, and Field of the Dead up. But that didn't trigger this turn. Krasis for 1 million. Is that Krasis for 3? X is 6. Well, I'm going to start dying, that's for sure. Oh, he's attacking with Bolus, though. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bolus not attack here. Yeah. Great, cool. I can still attack with everything, though. If the shark dies, Yahenni gets bigger, which isn't really that big of a deal. Should block the token here. It's letting the token through. So this sacks Gutter Bones. 1 balls him. I think I'm going to lose this game to having just not drawn any more spells, which is unfortunate. We'll put this into play. We will put Gutter Bones into my hand and play Gutter Bones. And I'm going to play the land here. Getting to the point where I could double activate some of these would be really nice. Still feel like I'm in a lot of trouble. I mean, he can just start attacking me, but he is at a pretty low life total. Field of the Dead's going to start making some tokens, though, and he's just got haymakers from this point forward. Gear Hulk does not do anything at the moment. Agent of Treachery was what I was worried about. This has to take Bastion or Yahenni. It's probably going to take Yahenni, which I can't sacrifice, and that's probably game over. Just the haymakers coming down at this point, and I haven't drawn anything to do practically anything at all. So, unfortunately, my draw, while decent, kind of fizzled when I drew the rest of the lands here. I don't have the way to refuel with cards like this. And you can see his deck did what it wanted to do, right? It interacted with my early gameplay, it ramped, and then it's just going to start playing ridiculous things from this point forward. Alright, I have seen enough. I think I drew, what, 2 spells that game? Outside of my additional hand, which is very obnoxious. This does feel like a matchup where Dreadhorde Invasion is going to be pretty good. Legion Warboss I tend to like, even though the Warboss is a little weak against the Wraths. Let's go and look at Mop's sideboard here. We have Merfolk, Trickster, and Skydiver. Skydiver's not great against me. Ripjaw Raptor I could see coming in. Cavalier. It's just more like gigantic things, so it doesn't really change what I'm going to do as far as sideboarding goes. I want to be better against the primary game plan here. Collected Company feels okay here. March of the Multitudes, probably not. Untethered Express. Untethered Express is really bad against Thief and Skydiver, but I don't think that's coming in against me. It's not great against Brazen Borrower, but it does dodge the 2 red removal spells. It dodges Essence Scatter. It dodges Storm's Wrath. It kind of attacks through Bolus and through Yarok. Gets around Finality. I think this is a matchup where I want the Untethered Express. It just dodges enough of his things. I also, want to draw spells, but can't have everything, I suppose. Stitcher Supplier, Command the Dread Horde is also an interesting one here. So I'm going to get rid of the Blood for Bones. We've made a pretty good case for doing that. The Chandra's still good here in addition to the War Boss. Called the Death Dweller seems like it can come out. Angrath's Rampage is good. The rest of the deck's decent. I'm thinking about whether I want Collected Company as well or not. Just to try and overwhelm him with creatures and get some sack outlets and stuff like that. Collected Company could be nice here. Let's assume I play it. Figure out what the deck would look like. Korvold. Korvold is answered by a lot of the efficient counter magic, obviously. It's not answered by either of the red removal spells. It doesn't die to Storm's Wrath. Could get picked off by Pool Kranos. Matches up against Bolus, Agent of Treachery. I mean, the big game stuff, Sublime Epiphany, I didn't even really look at. Korvold still seems fine here. Dreadhorde Invasion on the play for sure. I think I'm going to cut Korvold, though. Maybe that's dumb, but I think I'm going to cut it. And then I got to ditch one more card. Tempted to do one of these two. I don't want to really play into the Wraths, especially since he has 2 of them. But these can put enough pressure on him early. Plus Chandra plays around the Wrath, which is fine. I want to do what I did that game 1, but I also want to draw more spells, I guess, is the name of the game. I do need to cut one more card here, though. I'm trying to figure out what it should be. I wonder if I just don't want the War Boss here. Or if I want to pitch something that doesn't come down with Collected Company. Maybe Village Rites is the cut, even though it's fine. It's not great. Alright, let's cut Village Rites, and let's just go with, like, kind of an all-creature version of this deck. Cutting some of the top end and some of the more situational stuff and hoping I can have a faster start. The Lava Coil obviously put a little bit of a wrench in the plans, but that's going to happen. I will play first. I've got my colors. I have a slow start again. I don't know what I have to do to get one of my 1-drops on turn 1. I know I only have 2 of them, but I feel like I literally have never seen them on turn 1. I'm definitely keeping and probably just going to go... I guess I can go Terramorphic here. Because he can't do anything on turn 1, right? Or even turn 2 for that matter, that Angrath's Rampage is going to be relevant for. So long as I get these down by turn 3, I think that's fine. So I can Terramorphic and go get the Forest now. And just pass the turn. I guess this is bad if I draw exactly Kroxa. Because I would cast Kroxa on turn 2 here. Alright, we drew Priest. If he wants to answer Priest again, that's okay. I didn't see what happened to the Scry. I wish Arena would offer some sort of way of looking at Scry. Okay, that's interesting. So Essence Scatter potentially up here, which means I probably want to just play Bastion since it gets around the Essence Scatter. I also don't attack here. He could have Trickster, right? Yeah, there could definitely be a Merfolk Trickster here, so we're not attacking, and we're just playing Judy. No, I'm sorry, we're playing Bastion of Remembrance. Merfolk Trickster on turn 2 out of this deck would be kind of incredible. Cycling Neutralize. That doesn't rule out the Trickster for what it's worth. Alright, 3-mana counterspell incoming. I guess I cast Judith first. He can't Storm's Wrath me next turn. He doesn't have double red. So Brazen Borrower can't block, but it could interact. Sinister Sabotage, Essence Scatter, or what I'm anticipating here. I'm going to cast Judith. There's no reason to, like, not do anything here, so I'm going to do this, and then whatever he has, he has. I doubt we're going to see a Merfolk Trickster at this point. Feels like we're just going to get Essence Scattered or that one. And again, my hand kind of sucks here, but I have good draws. We will attack. We'll play a Blood Crypt and pass. I guess I should play Plains there. If he plays Bolus and I have to discard a card, I'm going to discard a land, and I would rather have my Plains than have to discard Plains. God, this mana has worked out very nicely for how greedy the mana base is. I guess he has a lot of mana fixing, but having all the colors is really unfortunate. Thunder and Rebuke, taking down my creature, yep. And still having Essence Scatter up, drawing another land too. He can't Trickster me. I just have nothing. Like, I don't have anything here, which is unfortunate. Like, I need to draw spells. Like, that would have been a great turn to just drop Untethered Express and have a real threat, but now I'm not threatening him and I can't beat him in the late game, so I don't think we win this sort of game. Hope he just plays Guild is Loaded. No, he played nothing. Scrap Heap Scrounger's good. Would have been really nice last turn. Is there like some big flash threat I've got to worry about here? Still Trickster is a possibility. Feels like he's got a board wipe and he's just trying to get me to play into it a little bit. Thankfully, Scrounger does play around board wipe a little bit. He doesn't have Bolus, otherwise I'm pretty sure he would have cast that, so I don't think I have to worry about what I'm discarding. Let's see if Trickster comes down. Does not. Let's make more black mana here. And we're going to go green. It doesn't matter how I tap here. Keep up Scrounger. Maybe it is a matchup where I want Command the Dreadhorde? I don't know. What are we going to see here? Thirst for Knowledge, perhaps? Shark Typhoon for 3. Okay. Solid. Fortunately, with an untapped land here, I have to start playing around Sublime Epiphany, which I don't know that I can even afford to do that. I wasn't able to apply enough pressure this game to get ahead, I don't think, and I think we're virtually done. He didn't have a land, though. That's kind of relevant. Should I guess Perforce's Intervention could just deal, like, a lot of surprise damage. Alright, I'm gonna attack. Maybe Trickster comes down and taps Scrap Heap Scrounger. Keeps me off in an attack here. I have no sack outlet. He did bring in Trickster. What a weird card to bring in against my deck. Your deck's already amazing against mine. Doesn't really do anything. Ingress Rampage is looking really bad here unless he specifically plays an artifact, but he's kind of just beating me down at this point. So, no point in attacking. We'll cast Gutter Bones. And pass the turn. The fact that he didn't have a land in hand is problematic as well, given that it means his hand is all, like, expensive cards and interaction. Like, he just drew Field of the Dead. I don't know how we're winning this game. We're going to have to win with Bastion somehow, but playing like Gilded Lotus would be nice for me so I can get something out of this Angrath's Rampage. Play Crafter. Okay. So I can Perforos's Intervention this for 3. 1, 2, 3. It kills it. And then I can Ingress Rampage. He probably sacks this at that point. If I Plague Crafter, it kills this. And then I can't Intervention the Ripjaw Raptor, which is a problem. If I could kill this and this in the same turn, that could be okay, but as is, I think I just have to Perforos's Intervention this stupid Ripjaw and let him draw his card. Because I gotta be able to attack this turn, I think. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Deal twice X. So we need to deal 6 here. I could attack first and then do this for less, but at that point it just drew an extra card. So I'm gonna bite the bullet here. If Merfolk Trickster, I'm gonna Ingress Rampage them first. Sacrifice a creature. And if they sacrifice Trickster, I get to just attack with everything. But if they sacrifice the Shark, that's their kind of pressure on me at the moment. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just sacrifice the Shark. And then Field of the Dead's active next turn. Yeah, if I had Command the Dreadhorde, this would be a lot better. If I could draw like my Kaya or my Corvold or something. Okay, they decided to take the extra damage this turn and set up for whatever they're doing next turn. Possibly Agent of Treachery coming down here. Gotta watch out for Torrential Gearhulk at this point too. Torrential Gearhulk into a counterspell, so I just won't cast something pre-combat. Legion Warboss, yeah, we just don't cast anything pre-combat here. Just attack with everything. Cannot give him the opportunity to Gearhulk me for value. Sublime Epiphany as well. Okay, just casting the Epiphany. And then we're going to eat some dudes. That does kill my entire board. I guess I didn't really even think about Epiphany for free-ish, right? So now what? We go... I could go Gutter Bones, replay Gutter Bones, Plague Crafter, kill a 2-2, be left with my 3-2. Could also go Scrounger plus this. Could just play Scrounger plus Warboss. Scrounger plus Warboss isn't even that good. I'm going to go for the Gutter Bones plus Plague Crafter here, I think. Maybe I want the Warboss on board. I don't know. There's no way I'm winning this game. He has 5 cards in his hand. Field of the Dead going. He has actual pressure on board. I don't think it matters what I do here. Alright, play that. Cast Plague Crafter. It's going to sack the zombie token for sure. I do put him down to 6 here, but I don't think it's enough. Maybe if this Bastion was like an actual Blood Artist, we could have something going on here. But he's got Gear... I'm assuming he has Gearhulk in hand. That's not necessarily true, but Gearhulk into Sublime Epiphany is game over. Like, extreme game over. Opting to the bottom. Interesting. It's kind of free. Still has Gearhulk mana up. Does not have double red. Attack, attack. Boom, boom. Make Field of the Dead. I just have to jam this and hope he doesn't have Gearhulk. My finger is on the escape button here. I'm ready to concede. All right. Good job.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for the beating. Felt good.
What's that?
Thanks for the beating.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Yeah, I had some pretty slow starts there, and then I was like, if he ever gets to like turn 6, I can't win. I have to put some sort of pressure on him. That first game, I just like drew 2 spells the entire game, and then
Yeah,
I
the
did.
second game was still a little bit of a sweat because I didn't quite get to the sixth land right away, and then you're always like so much of a threat to like just burn me out. So
Yeah, unfortunately, there was a turn where I just like didn't have anything to draw. Like I just didn't have anything to add to the
yeah, you just
board,
like
and
passed with
yeah,
5 mana, and I was like, okay,
if there
that's a
was
good
like
sign.
anything relevant I could have put on the board, maybe I would have been a little bit closer there. Also, the Perforos's intervention on the Ripjaw didn't feel good, but I felt like I had to attack that turn. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if you wanted to take a moment to just talk about your deck, because like I was saying when I just pulled this up, your deck is probably like the most erratic deck at the table. uh, like you've got this blue red deck, and then there's like a Pool of Kranos in here, and a Fine
Yeah.
Finality, and a Niv Mizzet Perrin. So I don't know if you wanted to just chat about how you ended up in that spot or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was I started so my strategy at the beginning I was picking last, so I was picking 10th. So I was able to see what everybody took first, and then I got to make my first 2 picks, and
Mm.
I was just nobody had gone into blue, so I went into blue, and I my goal early in the draft was just to take things that were good cards. So
Mm-hmm.
my first picks were Brazen Borrower and Shark Typhoon, and I was like, this is going to be good if I'm aggressive. This is going to be good if I'm controlling. Like they're just solid cards. I think I took Solemn Simulacrum, pick 3, just like good stuff. And then I was trying to go into like enter the battlefield thing, and then a few people started going into that. So by like the middle of the draft, I sort of had no idea what I was doing. I was taking a lot of lands just to like play the spells I did have,
Mm.
and then towards the end, I realized like I had all my lands, I had all my fixing, so I need to figure out what my base is, and I wound up in this like blue base. I think, like you said, I'm blue red. I really think I'm like base blue with red as a secondary color, and then green and black splash just for like fun top end cards. Not even fun, good top end cards. I
Right.
think Fine Finality has been incredible with all my utility creatures like Yarrick hasn't shown up a lot, but he's obviously good with agent and field.
Yeah.
So there's things that like have made sense, and honestly, like I've been surprised by how consistent the deck has been. But the way it plays out is sort of like you were mentioning, like I'm base blue, so I'm almost like a control deck. I have like cheap red removal, counter spells, and I just try to survive, and then my top end usually takes over the game.
Yeah.
And I've been surprised by how well it's worked out. I thought I would have more mana problems, but the mana's been like perfect, honestly, and I'm 8 matches in, so I don't think it's a fluke.
Yeah, you've got so much mana fixing that it's like, yeah, you're gonna have your blue like every single game, and then your blue can help you find the other stuff or buy you time.
Exactly.
I think like maybe the pivotal point for the entire roto for like everybody was when you took Yarick, and then
Mhm. They were like, "Oh
Chris,
shit, we need
yeah,
this." Yeah.
Chris, who was blue black, started like jamming the blue black lands. I think he took Watery Grave and maybe like Drowned Catacomb or something immediately, and then Lucas, who also wanted blue black mana fix and started like panicking and taking that, and then something happened like after you took Yarick where people just started taking all the lands and the gold stuff
Yep.
like just got really wonky. But yeah, the deck
Oh,
you ended
and
up
that's
with on
mhm.
paper looks really bizarre, but it plays out like you're just gonna one for one people early on and then take over the late game stuff, and it definitely did that to me.
Yeah, that's typically how it works out. But yeah, I think even when people were taking my land, like they were taking like the shock lands I wanted and the 2 colors I wanted, and I was like, screw it, I'm still just going to take lands
Hmm.
and find cards later, and it worked out.
Right. Well, you haven't dropped a game yet, have you? Or a match, I should say.
No, I've lost two. I lost to mono black and mono red.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, monocolored decks might get you. um,
Yeah,
well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk about it. I wish you the best of the luck, and I didn't even stand a chance there, really, but good games.
good games, dude.
All right,
Later.
later, man. All right, and that was MopBeeble, everybody. I thought my deck would do a little bit better. I feel like my deck let me down. I just didn't see any of my high hidden cards. I kind of drew the package of a Blood Artist type effect with the Bastion plus like my recursive creatures, but I didn't have anything else to get going there in the middle. You saw that, like we just mentioned. There was a turn in this previous game where I just didn't do anything, and he stumbled on mana for that turn, and that would have been the turn that I needed to push ahead, but I didn't have anything to cast. So, there's a flaw with my deck. It doesn't have a lot of card advantage. I didn't get Midnight Reaper and stuff like that. So, decks like this, where they. I mean, this might. I think I would have. You would think by looking on paper that I would have an okay matchup against this stuff. But if he draws his early game stuff to interact, I can't get my engine going. And then his late game stuff is just unbeatable for me. I don't do very well against this top end stuff like Gear Hulk and Epiphany and things like that. So it was a good match, but I just completely faltered in both games and didn't take a game off of him. So that's going to do it for this one. I've got 2 matches left. I guess I should mention at this point that I played against Lucas, who's one of the other drafters, obviously, in this Roto, and forgot to start recording. So even though we had really awesome matches and I won the matches, there's no footage of it. So this is technically my match number 7, I believe, and maybe 8. Regardless, Lucas's footage was lost, but we might play a consolation match just to have some footage out there, which will be the last one featured in this playlist. So if you see me versus a Esper kind of control blink deck, then that'll be the lost match, so to speak. But we'll just be playing for fun at that point. But anyway, I don't remember my record off the top of my head. I want to say I'm like 4-3 or something like that, with 2 matches left to go. I guess actually just 1 match for me, 2 matches left for you all. And that'll do it for this one. I'm going to plug it again. If you want to join Jank Diver Gaming and get involved with this sort of drafting or something along these lines, there are links in the description below this video to the Discord community where we set this sort of stuff up and do all of our communication with one another. And you can also subscribe to this channel for more content like this. I would love to hear from people what your opinions about this whole Roto experience has been. If you want to see more varied gameplay, or if you want it from the perspective of one person. I know you've seen my deck every single time. If you want to see more variation, maybe we can figure out a way to do that. I need your feedback on that and your comments to let us know kind of what we can do to smooth this experience out, because we like to do a lot more content like this. But anyway, that's going to go ahead and do it for us. This has been Timothy with Jank Diver Gaming, and I will see you all next time.